Brother Gibbs.
What's going on, man?
What's up? What's up? What's up? Hey, quick question. Can you hear the music from my computer?
I did, man. It was loud and clear, man. I thought I was about to, you know.
Oh man, that's good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and get kicked off, man. I know we carved out a specific amount of time here, so I wanna feed the people, man. That's what I really want to do. So first things first, man. Thanks for taking the time to hop on this quick call with me. What I really want to do with these calls is to cover a couple different topics. Number one, just tell people what we do. Tell people how we help people with what we do. And then just talk about the ideal client that we feel like we help the most. So I'm going to do a lot of screen sharing. I've took the pleasure of creating a brief introduction of at least who you are to me, but then I want you to kind of take a step back and then just give a brief introduction of yourself as well. So I'm going to share my screen once again. So hang tight here. Let me do this. Let's see. Let's go here. What screen are we on? We're on here, here. Hang tight. All right, so here we go. Can you see my screen, Claude?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, good. So what I want to do is just kind of give a brief background in terms of who you are to me. The little bit I know about what you do, I feel like it's not going to do it any justice. So just feel free to kind of fill in the paint where it ain't, so to speak. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the just quick Zoom call. Let's just get together and do a Zoom co-branded Zoom call meeting where the goal of these meetings on a continual basis is just to help out my database and people that I've helped and known over the years, and then also the people that I'd be bringing on here just to help their database as far as information. So Claude is a very, very good friend of mine. I've known Claude for many, many, many years. Claude was in my wedding over 10 years ago, and has just been a personal friend of mine since 2007. Claude has always been an expert in business and has always just been just a straight shooter when it comes down to helping clients out. The company that Claude is partnering up with right now is Lincoln Heritage, and he specializes in final expense insurance. And he's going to obviously cover a lot about what that is and how he helps out people the best way that he knows how to, and which I feel like Claude is going to be an extremely great asset to you. He's going to be very, very knowledgeable about what he does, and he's going to help you and your family out. So Claude, if you just wouldn't mind just hopping in and just kind of filling in a few blanks in terms of maybe what I've skipped, and just kind of tell the people who you are.
Right. So first and foremost, thank you, Mr. Goins, for allowing me to get on this Zoom call here, and 100% of everything that that you share live is 100% spot on. So I'm gonna just kind of tell my background a little bit. I've done a lot of things in the sales industry. I've been in the network marketing industry for quite some time, had some success there, have success in definitely mentoring, coaching, developing individuals in regards to, just building teams and building successful entrepreneurs in the network marketing industry. And of course, I just recently found myself I was in the advertising world for a little while. Just kind of found myself there, quite honestly, just, learning how to, just help folks get on TV and coming up with a commercial. But just currently right now, I've always had a passion for being in the insurance world. I've been in that world on two different levels. I used to be in a position where I was helping folks with what you would call financial planning. Mm-hmm. in the insurance world. But what I've done now is I've actually segued into more of a niche market where I specialize in final expense coverage. And primarily what I do now is I'm a final expense expert. What does that mean? So what that means is that I literally help families and individuals just guide them through the funeral process and just being an expert in that industry. And I call myself a final expense expert. And I just help guide people not only through that process, but with the products and services that Lincoln Heritage offers, I'm able to do two things. Number one, provide cash funding for them on an immediate basis where families can have access to funds when they need it, in terms of anywhere between 24 to 48 hours when it comes to helping plan for funerals, but then also guide them through the funeral process, because that can be a very stressful process. But at the same time, while a family is grieving, there's a lot of decisions that need to be made during that process. And what we do is we eliminate the stresses that happen during that process, and just make that streamline that whole process together when families, when it comes to helping them in the process of basically burying a loved one, and being there for them, and having the cash available for them when they need it the most.
Right. Well, man, thank you for that. I'm gonna share my screen once again. I just want to show the people what our agenda is. Right now, we are right on time. We're not going to keep you guys long. We encourage you guys to watch the entire video, but you can also fast forward. You can rewind. You can find your favorite parts. You can share this video as well, and there'll be some links on this email in terms of finding out, not finding out, but getting in contact with Claude, getting in contact with me, and about our companies. So I'm going to quickly share my screen here again, and on this screen, it's going to show one thing at first, and then I'll change it. So bear with me here as I change this here. I'm going to walk us through our actual agenda. Here we go. So as you guys can see, we're right on time. So we just did some brief introductions. I'll just give you a brief introduction of myself here in a second. The first questions that we're going to answer for you guys is, how do you and I, meaning Claude and I, help clients with the services we provide? The second question is going to be how to avoid the most common mistakes we see customers making. And this section is more for you, the audience that's listening. We want to give you a couple tips, maybe even some advice and some strategies about to not make some of the common mistakes when it comes down to final expense coverage, and also auto, home, and business insurance. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is, who do we feel like the ideal client for us is? And so let me just open up my screen again here, and then I'm just going to give you guys a brief introduction about who I am. I'm going to show you guys my actual virtual business card. So I use this card when I'm actually, let me expand my screen actually. I use this as my business card. So it's a downloadable business card. It's something you can put into your phone. It has my office number, my cell phone number, my company's business website. It has my address and some of the social media platforms that we actually show on. So my business card is actually going to be in the link. And Claude, if you have one, we can actually put yours in here too. We can put that in the link. All right. So let's go back. And so, really what I do, guys, let me exit this and go back to, hang on. There we go. All right. So what I do is I just help people with property and casualty insurance. So that's going to be your home insurance, your auto insurance, your business insurance as well. And the way that I do that is no different than maybe anybody else, but I do it a lot more. So the way I help clients out the best is I'm able to ask them a specific set of questions that help to guide the conversation. And that conversation that I'm having with people is to find out what their risk is going to be. And risk meaning that we don't want you to take any financial loss if something happens. So the way that we write insurance here at Baltimore Insurance Network is we help you to find the best insurance that's going to protect your quality of life if a claim should occur. So we're not the price agency. Yes, we're a broker, so we work with multiple insurance carriers, but we're also going to find you the best insurance that's going to protect your quality of life if a claim were to occur. Because the last thing you want to have happen is you find cheap price and then you don't have the best coverage. So to answer that first question, and I can put it back up on the screen just so you guys can just follow along in terms of our questions. Here we go. We're going to make this a full screen. Because sometimes with these Zoom calls, Claude, I realize that you see the person all the time and you don't really see what they're talking from. So let's answer this first question here. So I'll answer this question first. So how do I help clients with the services that I provide. So being a broker, I'm able to work with multiple carriers to try to find the best insurance coverage and the best insurance rates for my clients today and also in the future. Here's a good story. So one of my clients came to me as a brand new driver 2 years ago. Brand new driver, never had insurance before, never had a car before. And I was able to take that client and then match that client up with an insurance carrier that would actually cover them at that point. At that time, this person was living with their mom. And the mom actually at that point was insured somewhere else. I didn't insure the mom at that time, but I did end up insuring the mom on the renewal of the guy's insurance renewal. So I end up earning 2 clients all at once, which it just was 1 year apart. But the year renewal for this guy who was a new driver, new insurance, I was able to switch him to Allstate at that time. Now we're going to be working on this 3rd year renewal. He just got an apartment. So now he has insurance for his apartment. He has his auto insurance. And now we're going to bundle that with a company like Erie. So we do work with Erie, work with Allstate, and a host of other carriers that we work with. So I'm able to take a client where they are today, match up that client with a specific insurance carrier, and then work with them over the long term to find them the best insurance at the best price. Because once again, the last thing we want to have happen is that somebody does not have enough insurance in the event of a claim. So that's just an auto scenario. But we work with clients from home insurance as well. There's a lot of new homeowners in the state of Maryland. And it is amazing. I talked to some of my realtor friends, and unfortunately, with the coronavirus situation happening, it was unfortunate for a lot of people. But then again, a lot of people took advantage of it from a financial standpoint. So there were a lot of homes that were bought from March up until the date of this recording, which is August the 4th. So I help out clients. I go out to the home. I take a look at the home interior, exterior, and I'm able to do a good appraisal of a home so that way we can find the best insurance at the best price for our clients. So hang on a second, let me go back here. So I think in a nutshell, I'm able to just take most clients where they are right now with their current coverages, take a look at their current policy, and then see if there's another carrier that's going to offer a better insurance coverage at a better price. I'm not looking to steal any clients. But I'm just looking to have a conversation with as many people as possible to help them out with their insurance needs. So the thing I say keep in mind in terms of the way I help people is just to know that my first layer of underwriting is extremely thorough. And another link that's going to be in this email is how to get on my calendar. So the best way to have the best conversation with me, and I'm sure Claude could attest to this, is just to make sure that you can have a calendar appointment. So we get a lot of inbound phone calls here at the agency. And sometimes people want that insurance now. And we can get an insurance policy now, but you'll get a better rate if we can shop it for 8 days from now. So we try to meet a client where they are, but I've always found that if we have those extended conversations, we can also find the best insurance at the best price for people. So that's kind of in a nutshell, how we help out clients. We do it some other different ways, but that's kind of in a nutshell. So I just want to kind of toss it over to you, Claude, in terms of how you help out clients.
So the way I help out clients is very simple. So the way I find clients is mainly those who are looking to, and pretty much one thing that's definite about my business is that eventually you're gonna die.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, so everyone's gonna die, and I say that quite loosely because at the end of the day, every family needs a final expense policy. And so sometimes I have to educate families on the difference between a final expense policy and a life insurance policy. So just like you, I need to, number one, educate that client and of course have the expertise to explain to that client that there is a big difference between a life insurance policy and a final expense policy. And the major difference between that is when you have a life insurance policy, typically that is left behind as inheritance to the family. That is typically left behind to take care of paying a mortgage, leaving behind extra money for the family to go on, maybe take care of some, maybe being able to pay your mortgage or your rent, for several months at a time. You want to leave that behind. But what a final expense policy in the like of a life insurance policy is still the same way, but the difference is how it pays. Because when a family member dies, what happens is that a family needs cash funding right away. They got to take care of the flowers. They got to take care of the the funeral home expenses. They got to take care of services that need to be paid by the funeral services. You have to take care of the cemetery costs. If you're doing a cremation, still the family needs immediate cash funding. And one of the biggest mantras that I tell my client is sometimes most clients, aren't in a great financial position to be able to have a policy. So what I do is I have a conversation with that client exactly what they're planning for, whether it's a cremation or a traditional burial. And once I find that out, now I need to assess them in terms of health. And primarily with my company, we practically insure any and everybody. So as long as you don't have AIDS or HIV or are locked up or in an assisted living home, you qualify for a program with us where most companies would actually turn you away and wouldn't even touch you with a 10-foot pole. So that's the benefit of having a policy with us. And one of the key things about having a policy with Lincoln Heritage is that it kind of going back to my conversation. So if you remember, funeral homes don't make casket. Don't make casket. Funeral homes don't make flowers. Funeral homes is not a printing shop, right? They get those items from other areas. They're going to third-party vendors. And what happens is that, and this is what I mean when I say I help clients understand the funeral process, because most people who I deal with are typically would sign their policies over to a funeral home. But that's the last thing that you want to do, because when you sign a policy over to a funeral home, if you remember in my previous conversation, sometimes it takes time, sometimes weeks, sometimes months, sometimes even months at a time before that money is available. But when you have a policy that provides cash funding right away, what happens is that money goes directly to the beneficiary, which means one of two things. Number one, the funeral home never knows how much you have, because once a funeral home knows how much you have, now guess what? They're going to run the game on you.
Right.
You have that $50,000 policy. You have that $100,000 policy. Guess what? The price that a funeral home is going to charge you can be anywhere between that range, 50 to 100,000. And then now, if you intended to use for, to leave extra money behind or take care of medical expenses, things of that nature, now what happens is that family gets a chance to save that money in their pocket and not send that money to the business. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying funeral homes, they're a business, just like any other business. They're there to make money. But when you're a family who lives paycheck to paycheck, or, you live in, you don't come from money, things of that nature, you want to leave behind an inheritance for your family. So what we do is we make sure that family gets educated. And how do we do that? Every person who gets a policy with Lincoln Heritage, we connect you to a company at no charge. It's actually a free benefit that we offer. It's called the Funeral Consumer Guardian Society. And what Funeral Consumer Guardian Society? I call it the Guardian for short. And what that means is that we advocate on behalf of the family. We coach the family on what funeral home to use. We coach the family on what, these items can be bought elsewhere, things of that nature. So there's a lot of items that clients do not know that our Funeral Consumer Guardian Society can literally help price shop and also negotiate and review contracts with the funeral home before they do business with any funeral home. So what does that do? It does two major things. Number one, it prevents the family from emotionally spending.
Right.
And also prevents the family from overspending. Those are the primarily things that we do to help find a client and help navigate a client through the funeral process. Because again, most people who I deal with never been through a funeral, and then some families that I talk to been through the funeral process, but they have a lot of complications. It wasn't easy. They didn't understand. They didn't know if they were overcharged. They didn't know if they were, is this the right price point? So there's a lot that I coach the family through. So it's not just, hey, let me get you a plan, $20 a month, $30 a month. No, let me understand what you're looking to do, help you understand that funeral process, and then design a plan based on your budget and make sure that you understand the full benefits of what our final expense company does. And that's all we specialize in. We final expense specialists.
Nice. What was the name of what was the long name for Guardian?
It's called the Funeral Consumer Guardian Society.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna put that in the notes. And then maybe if somebody reaches out to you, they can ask you that specific question. But I think that's a great thing. Because I think at the end of the day, we're consumers, and we want to make sure that somebody, our agent, has our best interest in mind.
Absolutely.
Everybody needs to get paid. Everybody needs to eat. But at the same time, we want to feel like somebody has our best interest in mind. I never forget, my college basketball coach was my favorite coach of all time because he knew that he pushed us. I knew that he pushed us, but he had our best interest in mind. So he pushed us just hard enough for us to believe that these sprints that we were doing were going to show off. We're going to show out in the fourth quarter of our games. Wow. So we just want, as customers, as consumers, we just want people that have our best interests in mind. So, and just keeping the spirit of time, let me go back to our agenda here. So next thing we're going to cover is going to be how to avoid the most common mistakes we see customers making. And Claude, you want to touch on that first, or you want me to go ahead and touch on it?
Again, just the most common mistakes clients make is sometimes they go price shopping. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you get, you know how the saying goes, you get what you pay for.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I think the client should yes, price is in consideration, but at the same time, keep in mind that you want to attach yourself to a specialist, right? Mm-hmm. Someone who understands what they're talking about. I firmly believe that you need a specialist in all areas of life. Just like in your case, you specialize, in your area. I specialize in my area. So you want to get someone who is just not just some Joe Schmo, just trying to push a policy to you. Right. So that's the second point that I want to make is that you want to connect with someone, again, even like what you just said, who has your best interests at heart. So it's always good to make sure that you're, that you get all the facts and then understand, that get all the details, 100% of the details, and not necessarily purely go off of price. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you get the full scope of the whole, program that you're looking to participate in. And at the same time, you're going to get an agent, someone that's going to be there for life. Right. They're not because you have companies out there that you call in and it's an 800 number. Right. And you talk to them, you never talk to them ever again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You want somebody who's going to stick with you through life, because just like in your case, somebody might start out in a starter home and they're going to have this home, and then they're going to get boats. They're going to get, businesses. Right. They're going to, and that one someone's going to stick with you every phase of that life, because things are going to change. Yep. And if somebody can stick with you throughout that entire time, they know your needs. They know what you're looking for. They get it, not just someone who's going to talk to one time, because that's how things get lost. That's how people buy things, that they weren't supposed to buy. Right. And then come to find out 20, 30 years later, they made a huge mistake because they didn't get they didn't have someone that knew what happened in the beginning. Right. And then we're here. You know what I mean? So you want to be with a company. And that's what we do here at Lincoln, is every time I talk to a client, I literally tell them, hey, man, I'm your agent for life. Right. Yep. We stuck together. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you need anything, call me. Hey, let's start out with this program first. And then as time goes on, call me 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now, and let's go ahead and upgrade. Let's go ahead and, start somewhere, and let's go ahead and just build on that plan. And like I said, I'm pretty sure you can say the same thing about your industry. You're going to, you want to be with them when they first got their first house or their first car. And then guess what? Now 10 years down the road, now their kids are driving. They got kids. Their kids are driving. Yeah. Yeah. Now you call, Live or call Mr. Goins. Hey, talk to Mr. Goins. He's our guy for insurance. He's our guy for homeowners. And then when their kids start buying homes, or when they start to have businesses, and then they start to, you're with them throughout that whole process. And now guess what? You had a client or vice versa. You had an agent that's been with you for 15, 20 years.
Yeah, man, I cannot echo that any more clearer. So price, a lot of times, is the driving force behind why people buy certain things. And being in sales for my entire career, I can remember being in high school selling stuff. All I've done is sales and sports, and I try to be the best husband I can, the best father that I can be. But I've studied sales. So understanding it as a consumer, I know that price is important, but now in my industry, I know that coverage is more important. I had a family member, very, very close family member of mine, that part of the reason I got into the industry had a situation where he did not have enough coverage in place. And a couple things happened and he's still paying some stuff off. So unfortunately, you know, you need to make sure you have enough coverage in place. But here's the biggest mistake that I think happens, Claude. Customers avoid tough conversations.
Yes.
That's, I think, the most important mistake that clients make. When I get on the phone, have you ever had a customer, like, you can hear the rush in their voice? They just want to, like, get this conversation over with because either they don't want to be sold, or they don't want to buy, or they don't think it's important. You know what I mean?
That's every day.
So, like, people, like, a lot of my clients, when I first get them on the phone, I slow things down, you know. Just by the tone of my voice, I just try to slow them down. And I even ask, I say, hey, look, Claude, this conversation is probably going to take about 15 minutes. Is that the amount of time that you have on your calendar now, or should we carve out some specific time? Because this is a very, very important conversation. And I want to make sure that I don't miss asking you something. And they say, all right, yeah, I got 15 minutes. And all of a sudden you feel like they're rushing. But I think the biggest mistake that customers make, they are avoiding these tough conversations. And then they focus on that price conversation. And I think a lot of times customers are misinformed, or they assume that they're getting the best price, but they don't know about how much coverage they have in place. So here's what drives rates in my industry. And I wrote it down, so I'm going to look off the screen here. So here's what drives rates. Your driving record, your geographic territory, your gender and your age, your marital status, prior insurance coverage, vehicle use, and make and model of your vehicle. So if I can get somebody on the phone and they can tell me all the right information, a lot of times I'm able to find them discounts. I'm able to work with different companies, because there are companies right now that won't even accept the risk if you're not doing a bundle policy, unfortunately. So if I'm able to get someone renter's insurance and auto insurance, they're home in Maryland, then they're home in Virginia. You know, they have 2 kids off in college, but when those 2 kids come back from college, they're going to be using 2 cars. So if I can get somebody on the calendar, have a tough conversation with them, and then get the answer that I need, they have a better insurance policy in place. That way, if something were to happen and the shit hits the fan, they realize that they have the best insurance policy in place that is going to protect their quality of life if a claim happens. Because nobody really wants to come out of pocket a penny. If God forbid, if my house were to burn down right now, I'm not paying out of pocket a penny to rebuild my house from the ground up. And if my cars are out front, they're going to be fully covered. And God forbid, if someone loses their life in my family, the family's going to be taken care of. So insurance to me is so important. It's so important. That's why I've been in the business for such a long time. Mm-hmm. Stress the fact that price, yes, it's important. We want to find a policy that fits within your budget. But one of the things I ask people is this. I say that a good place for us to start, I'll just practice on you, Claude. I say, man, Claude, a good place for us to start the conversation is what's the most important for you? What's the most important for you today? Is it price, coverage options, or my professional recommendations? And then when I say it like that, even if they're focused on price, they still want to get my professional recommendations. So yeah, so I can't echo you enough, man. Price, and then people want to avoid those tough conversations. All right, so in the spirit of time here, let me go back to our agenda, and we're going to touch on in the last few minutes that we have here is who would be the ideal client that we look for. And I'll touch on this first. So the ideal client for me is someone that wants to have that tough conversation, that wants to slow the process down just a little bit so that way I can do my job and ask them the right questions, and I can get the right data, and I can input that information into the carriers that I work with. So I want to work with those people. There's really no ideal age. We can take youthful drivers and we can take the elderly drivers, but I'm looking for a bundled policy. So I call them super clients. And if I can show you that board right there, my mission statement, if I can point at it, my mission statement says, through God, we are super agents making outbound phone calls to super clients to issue new policies. And then there's a little wheel up there. So we're super agents. So we focus on studying, we focus on testing, we focus on accountability, we focus on spot checking. I have a business coach that I pay a good deal of money for every month to hold me accountable and teach me things. So we're being super agents and we're making outbound phone calls. So we're calling our clients. We're doing endorsement. We take all the opportunities to make that endorsement process, either to focus on some policy weaknesses that someone might have or some policy strengths that someone might have. And then we're making outbound phone calls to super clients. And a super client for us is basically like a tree. So we look at someone that owns a dealership, and they might need general liability insurance. They might need garage insurance, and they might need license plates insurance. And then they might need, let's just say Arizona mission insurance, or they might need, I'm losing one right now, but they have a host of business needs, and then they have a family. So the husband owns the dealership, or the wife owns the dealership, and we're looking to bundle that home and auto, and they have kids. So we're kind of looking at it from a tree standpoint. So we don't turn away any clients, but we don't try to be too broad, so that way we're taking on any and everybody. So to narrow the scope down, we're looking for super clients. So someone that owns a business. I'm focusing in on the fitness industry right now. I love bodybuilding. That's a bodybuilding trophy right up there. So we're looking to insure personal trainers. We're looking to insure these shows that are in the area, the gyms that are in the area. And then that person, we're looking to insure your personal lines as well, your home, your auto, your life, so on and so forth. So that's the ideal client that I'm looking for. How about you, Claude?
Fantastic. My ideal client is, we primarily service those who are 50 plus and under the age of 85. But I do insure people from 0 to 50 as well too. But ideally, the people who are 50 plus, and the reason why I say specifically 50 plus is because most people who typically hit age 50 end up experiencing things in their body, end up having to need to take certain medications. So whereas most final expense companies, or insurance companies rather, would turn them down, Lincoln practically accepts 99% of the people that we talk to. So like I was explaining before, unless you have AIDS or HIV or in jail or in an assisted living home, we practically insure you. So if you have COPD, if you have diabetes, if you have, a heart condition, if you have a lung condition, if you have some kind of memory complication and you're on some cancer maintenance medication, guess what? We can insure you. We take you, in most cases, same day coverage. And basically what that means, as soon as you pay your first premium on a policy, we cover you right away. Whereas most companies would turn you down. And at the very least, it would be some kind of waiting period, whether it's 2 years or 3 years if you're under 50. But if it's 50 plus, it's a 2-year waiting period. But hey, listen, your money's better in a policy than it is trying to keep it in the bank. So essentially 50 plus, and then those who've had had major, been hospitalized, whether you've been in a stroke or had a heart situation, heart attack, so we can cover you with our program. So those are the ideal clients that I essentially look for. And then of course, those who are looking to make sure that their final expenses that are taken care of.
Yeah. All right, man. So look, in the spirit of time, why don't you just tell people how to get a hold of you, and maybe if you wanted to kind of parlay maybe into, just kind of a quick speech or something like that. I always enjoy hearing you talk. But tell people kind of get a hold of you and kind of what to expect when they do get a hold of you.
So you can reach me on my personal cell phone, which is 301-979-3911. Or you can reach me on my email, which is cg3enterprisesllc@gmail.com. And then of course, when I talk with you, what you'll expect is obviously, number one, someone's going to be personable with you. I'm going to get a chance to know you. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. It's going to understand, your, what you're looking to do. And of course, I'm going to provide you some solutions that's going to help your family. So that's the best way to get in contact with me. And then of course, this is the only product that I offer in terms of helping people get taken care of for their final expenses. So I'm going to be an expert, a specialist to help you go through that funeral planning process. So that's what you're going to expect from me, is just you're going to, I'm going to laugh with you. I'm going to have a good time with you. I just had a good time just talking to a client while after they got their policy. I was helping them with their plans for their funeral planning. I mean, we just had a grand time. I mean, we were laughing, we were joking, we were talking about the music that they're going to play, at their funeral. And I even helped them come up with some of the songs. So So when I talk with you, we're going to talk about all of that. And that's the benefit of having a policy with me, is that, you know, I've been with other companies before. You write a policy and you'll never see me again. You know, here, you're going to get a policy. Inside the policy, we're going to go over some information about your funeral planning process. And guess what? I'm going to talk with you with them. We're going to have fun with it. We're going to have a good time with it. And at the same time, I want to know who your family members are, because after I do such a great job, you know, the best thing that you can do for me is not keep me a secret. Don't keep it a secret.
Love it. I love it. And as you guys can see from the screen, I'm going to change this. I'm going to put Claude's correct information in here with his phone number. So that I'll do that when I put it in the notes for you guys. So how to get in contact with me. The best way is probably through phone. So I'm going to give you two phone numbers. One is going to be 443-869-6424. Once again, 443-869-6424. And that's going to be directly to my office. Have a personal assistant. She does a great job for our team. Her name is Cheryl. She'll be warm and friendly with you. And she's kind of the gatekeeper a lot of times for us. But then you can just get the phone call transferred to me, or you can call me directly on my cell, which is going to be 443-961-5655. I'm sorry, 4655. I just got that one. So it's 443-961-4655. All right, so let me just share my screen really quickly one more time. And what you can expect when you talk with me is similar to what Claude said, just a very, very good conversation about what we do, about the questions that we have for you, and more specifically, helping you to find the best coverage that's going to protect your quality of life if a claim were to occur. So that's the one thing that you're going to hear me say over and over and over again. And then we're going to walk through line by line what your coverage does, if it's home insurance, if it's A through F, if it's auto insurance, if it's about, PIP and what that covers, if it's about liability coverage, if it's about physical damage coverage, we're going to walk through that. If it's a business insurance policy, we're going to walk you through your errors and omission. We're going to walk you through general liability. And we're going to talk about what you do to make sure that you're not exposed to any risk. So expect a very, very deep conversation with me to make sure that your quality of life doesn't change if a claim were to occur. All right, so let me get out of this screen here. And I think my screen was paused. Can you see me, Claude?
Yeah, you're good. You flowed. I didn't see you pause at all.
Okay. All right. So here we go, guys. So that's it. That's it, guys. I'm gonna bring in some outro music, and I don't know if it's gonna mute me out when this happens.
Hey, before we chime off, I just want to say thank you, man, for just having me on this call.
For sure.
Obviously, anyone who does business with Lafayette, man, you're gonna get the best, man. I mean, that guy, yeah, man. I mean, just outstanding, man. Guys, it's just phenomenal guy, phenomenal businessman, and doing business with him, man, is top notch, man. Top notch.
Man, I appreciate that, dude. And you guys don't know this, but Claude and I, like I said earlier, Claude and I have been best friends, man, for a very, very long time. We've done a lot of business together, and he's watched me grow, both professionally and personally, and I've watched him grow professionally and personally. So not only is Claude a great friend of mine, but he's a great businessman, a great business mentor. And I mean, he's done some super, super big things, and the best is yet to come. So
yes.
Look forward to getting you on another episode in the near future, man. And I hope this helps you guys, and you're going to have a great night. I'll give you some outro music if you can hear it. And shake your head if you can hear it, Claude.
Okay.
No? You can't hear that?
I hear it. Well,
maybe that's how it's supposed to be. All right. All right, guys. Peace. We love you.
Thank you again.
We're going to end it now. Talk to you soon.